place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. Welcome back. This is the Lautimes podcast, where we talk about Tigres in the English language. Welcome back to the show. It's another Tuesday. Lots to get through tonight as we recap a great week of results last week. Much better than we anticipated. Look ahead to this week. So much in store. Even Threeger's already here. Shout out our friend Threeger. First comment of the night, not even a minute in. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis. I'm the host. I'm the producer. It's great to have you guys back with us tonight on the show. And I'm happy to be joined by my friend down in Austin, in Central Texas, home of the Longhorns. You know him as Tigres_English. Luis, a.k.a. Lupop. How's it going?
What's up, Dennis? Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. That's right. Great to be back. Lots to get to tonight, my friend. Very excited to talk about this with you. I think we'll be joined by AJ here in a little bit as well. I know our friend Double O Nation will be hanging out in the chat. Y'all come hang out in the chat. If you're watching live, please drop your thoughts and opinions in the chat, in the comments. Share this link with somebody. Let people know about what's going on. In fact, shout out StreamYard, aka this site that we run the show on. There's a new feature, polls. I'm going to throw up a poll later on about something that happened in the Chivas game. So please participate in that. We want to get y'all's thoughts on that when it happens. So stay tuned for that as we talk about the Chivas game. First things first, though, tonight, it's midweek. It's Conca week. I've got my eyes on, I'm sure you do too, I've got my eyes on Cruz Azul, LAFC, leg 2. Nashville, America is coming up later tonight, but our beloved Tigres play leg 2 in Seattle tomorrow night. Big game. Before we talk about tomorrow, let's talk about last week. When we recorded last week, this episode, we were a little hesitant to be confident, I would say, just based off of the team form and knowing what Seattle can bring to the table. But the boys put on a good shift, leading to a 2-0 win on the road. Honestly, could have been 3 or 4, if not for a couple, shots off the bar and stuff. Good chances. Lot to like about last week's performance at home. Part of what made last week so great was that game. So give me your thoughts looking back on what happened last Wednesday night as we start to look ahead to tomorrow night, playing a second leg that's going to be really difficult on the road.
Yeah, it was pre-game. I think both of us were on the same page. We just didn't know what kind of Tigres team we were going to get. We have been so incredibly up and down this season. I think we've lost a lot of games that we frankly should have won against weaker opponents. And then, interestingly enough, we've had good games against the likes of America and Chivas. So I didn't know what to expect, and I was a little bit worried because, we were playing a good Seattle Sounders team that's well coached and that frankly has had our number for a long time. And so I was a little bit apprehensive about it. I didn't know what kind of Tigres team was going to show up. And so I was pleasantly surprised with our performance. I thought we played well. We did well to control the match. I think we had possession for the bulk of the game, generated plenty of dangerous situations in front of goal. And like you said, I think this was one that I think we could have won 3-0 if we would have been just a little bit sharper. But I like the score. I think 2-0 keeps us honest. I think historically we don't do very well with 3-0 leads going into an away game. So I think this is a score that's going to keep us focused, that's going to, ensure that we put up a fight. But I thought overall, great result against a good team, a well coached team. And had you told me pregame we were going to win 2-0, control possession, have 22 shots, plenty of chances, then I would have taken it. And I think I was satisfied with what the boys produced, and I think I'm not gonna say fully confident going into the second leg, but at least satisfied that we can put up a good result on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the game plan. I thought we were on the front foot for much of the game, which it's hard to do against a Seattle team that has a style of play that they've had for so long. Solid midfield, solid in attack. Um, but in a lot of ways, like we had good control of the game in the first half. You know, we get an opportunity. Correa unfortunately misses the penalty, which we can talk about that later. But I liked a lot of like what some of the guys did. I thought the midfield was strong. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I think the player of the week last week, despite all the goal scorers and all the goal contributions from certain players, I think there's an argument to be made that Cesar Araujo might be the player of the week from both games last week. I thought he was spectacular um, in both games. In the Seattle game, everywhere, just like really setting in defense. Him and Romulo, as we've talked about on the show over the last few weeks, him and Romulo kind of interchanging. Like, okay, who sits a little bit deeper? Who kind of drives a little bit more forward as the base in front of the center backs? There's a lot to like about just how he played. I'm not going to call him an MLS merchant in the same way that I call Ociel Herrera an MLS merchant, but he knows how it is to play against these guys, and I think that's valuable. It's valuable in an experience like this, uh, in a tournament like this, in a matchup like this, where you don't get to see these guys all the time, especially in Mexico. Like we've played these MLS teams in the U.S. a lot right now with how Leagues Cup operates, but in Mexico, you need that experience of guys who have played against these cats before, and him being in the team and just knowing what it's like to be able to sustain pressure and hold off what they could have brought. I thought was really strong. I thought Gori had a really great game last week, and then obviously you'll see the actual MLS merchant um, had a great goal off a wonderful Goriaran assist on the little back heel. I was really impressed with that. Um, the own goal, which was technically Joaquim's, great cross, you know, and again a couple little chances here and there, and maybe that score line's even bigger. Um, but there was a lot to like about how he played, how after a really frustrating last like couple weeks before last week, it was nice to see the shift mentally, and with the spirit of the team. I thought that was a big thing that happened in the Seattle game. There was a better spirit about how the boys played and greater sense of purpose, and I'm glad that they like showed that in front of a home crowd that has not experienced a lot of wins this season, where our home has not been a fortress up until this past week. And the stats prove it too: 57% possession, an XG of basically 2, 4 shots on target, 22. We held them to less than half of a goal XG wise. Um, 84% passing accuracy, almost 400 passes. Um, they didn't have a corner kick all night, so no set piece threat for them, which that is something that they can, you know, find success in sometimes. So, lot to like about how we played, and we can only hope that tomorrow we can replicate that as best we can. And as we bring in our friend, the Pride of Corpus, but you know him as AJ from Houston, as we bring AJ in now. AJ, any follow up thoughts? Oh, he's back with the camera tonight. How wonderful! And
He's the professor tonight, bro.
he's taking us to school. What other thoughts do you have about the Seattle game as far as like individual performances and just kind of the way the team played against a high level MLS opponent?
I think the energy was something different that we didn't see from the squad for the few games before, and then we carried that into the Chivas game. So definitely the energy was really good. I love the effort, especially to keep a clean sheet. Defense finally kept a clean sheet. Something that we've been stressing about the past few weeks is the lack of clean sheets, but the defense held their own, and glad to get the clean sheet and the win.
All right, if we had to guess, I'm not throwing this up on the poll because I have something else for the poll for the Chivas game. Actually, hold on. I got to read this comment from Threeger. He's the professor. Now, where's the basketball? From the John Wooden School of Hoops. Um, Player of the match from last week. I think there's a lot of candidates between Ociel, Gorri, Araujo, Romulo. Who are you taking?
Honestly, in the Sounders game, you can't name a single guy that was bad that night. Everybody was on point, bro. I thought everybody played really well. So it's kind of hard to just point out one guy when the whole entire squad was just dialed in. But I gotta kind of give it to Gorriarán. I thought he did an excellent job of getting us organized. I thought he was very balanced, provided a lot of support defensively, but also did a lot to get us going on the attack. So Gorriarán, I think, is one of those guys that I think is stepping up right at the time we need him the most. So I'm happy to see that from him. Also, be starting to be a good leader for us on the pitch. So I'm gonna give it to him, even though there were a lot of good performances from a lot of them. I mean, you mentioned Araujo. I thought he was excellent. Chuy Garza was good. Lainez was awesome, and a lot of shouts.
AJ.
I'm gonna give it to Oziel. I don't know what it is with MLS teams, but he just plays at a different level. Like he was creating chances. Uh, I forgot which one, what minute it was, but when he had that low drive shot from he cut it back in. If he would have elevated the ball, I think he could have curled the shot in. But he was creating chances, but definitely against the MLS teams, he's a different beast. Hopefully, he can carry that into the league and hopefully the Liga.
Absolutely, yeah. And we'll talk more about Ociel Herrera a little bit later and the rumor involving him regarding his potential future as a player. I'm gonna say Araujo. I've been riding the Araujo train uh, all episode, and I'll just stick to my guns there. Um, Speaking of Goriaran, as we kind of transition now to talking about the second leg tomorrow night, he's going to be a big miss because if I remember correctly, he's suspended tomorrow night due to yellow card accumulation. Three are agreeing with me saying Araujo. Um, so that's a big miss. There's a rumor that came out earlier today that Araujo didn't finish training, picked up an injury at the end. So we'll see what his status is like tomorrow. If that ends up being the case, uh, man, we might have a really really interesting midfield, to say the least. Brunetta has to slot back in immediately. I know he didn't start last week's first leg, but I think with Gorri already out, you have to bring him in. But even more so if you're losing Araujo potentially too. Um, you're looking at, I assume, a midfield of Brunetta and Romulo Suarez in the pivot. Um, if Araujo can't go, and then Joaquim has to slide back in at center back, I have to imagine that's going to be what happens at this point. With everything else kind of being the same, I would roll the same 11 besides that. Ociel starting again off the left, Lainez off the
Except
right.
Loroña's out, right, due to
Loroña's out
injury.
too. Yep.
So
Picked up
that's
an
another
injury.
guy we need to account for.
Yeah,
Um,
which in that case, like,
so Angulo would perhaps have to play left fullback,
yeah, and
and then
then
maybe you're playing Purata and Joaquim in the
oh
center
Dios,
back slots with
God
Chuy
help us.
Garza at right fullback.
Oh God help us. Uh,
I mean, that's kind of what it's looking like right
yeah.
now.
I hope not. I hope not. I
Because
mean,
if you were to keep Suarez at center back, which is, I would love to see that pairing, that also, if Araujo can't go, then you would have to use Simeone at your pivot, which is it's a big game for the kid. It's a big
Yeah.
ask.
Or Tigres saying or Guerrero, especially after the fact that he even played. I know he didn't have a great game against Chivas. We'll talk about him later, but kind of a ballsy move by Guido to start him and play him the entire game against the top team in Liga MX right now. I mean, I
Pizarro
don't
got
know.
asked during the press conference about Araujo, and he just blew it off, bro. He did not answer the question. I don't know if he didn't answer because he doesn't want to give any ammo to the Sounders, or if he just didn't answer because he didn't think it was a legit question.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what to make of the not answering the question. Unfortunately, it was one of those questions that got combined. It was like a two for one type of
Yeah.
question, and
Uh-huh.
he only answered the second part of the question and not the first. So
Of course. Yeah, as a smart coach does in that scenario. um yeah. Yeah, man. Hopefully Araujo's ready to go because man, we're in slim pickings if he's not. Um I mean, we're already thin without Gorianan. Like Gorianan's such a big miss in this scenario, and maybe maybe you even start off a little bit more defensive with your formation, which I think that's risky doing that in Seattle because I think it's really important to get the first goal or to score early and get that away goal because that really swings things in our favor if you get that away goal. Um, I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens in about 24 hours when we get the lineup. Like, I don't know what to expect at this point based on current status of the squad. Um, as we go into tomorrow, it's the first Sounders game back at Lumen Field. Um, in a bit, I know that tonight the U.S. women's national team is playing there, so they're breaking in that new grass that they installed for the World Cup. So I think that's a factor. Um, not playing on turf, which traditionally has been the case there, and instead playing on grass, I think that'll be really interesting. Um, I know it's cold up there right now, so that's a factor. The boys got there yesterday and trained today, and it was really cold. Um, gonna be a really crazy environment. Um, we talk about our team being resilient and having comebacks and all that. Well, if there's a team that can do it from an MLS side, it is Seattle. I don't ever want to fully count them out. Strong team, a lot of history, a lot of you know good things about them from a culture perspective and coaching and their squad. So, like you mentioned, Lou, this tie's not over by any means. Um, so I'm a little hesitant to be like fully confident. Um, got to take the sting out of the game. I think that's the biggest key is just take the sting out of the game as much as you can. Take the crowd out of it and really try to get that away goal sooner than later because then you suck the life out of that stadium and then it becomes a whole different ball game for them.
in the press conference today, Joaquim got asked about it, about the crowd, and it appears like at least the South American players are not aware of the venue and what kind of crowd is there. So it might take them by surprise to see how much support their fans give their team. So hopefully they'll be prepared for some noise and the crowd. But he mentioned something interesting. He talked about getting off to a good start and establishing our game, which I think it's really important. I think this is a game you have to go into thinking that you have to score at least one and ideally two. So I think you said it best. It's not a game where we need to play in a low block and try to defend and squeeze out something. It won't work for us. I just don't think in the games where we've tried that approach, it just doesn't work out in our favor. Um, and that's why you can never be confident because you just never know defensively what kind of team will trot out until we start putting together more clean sheets and better performances defensively. We have to just see it as a roll of the dice with the defense. And so if that's the case, then we're gonna need to score tomorrow night. If you score two, for example, that forces them to put up what, five to be able to advance. So that's something where you feel comfortable with the defense. Okay, they're not going to give up that amount. And then if you score one, you're forcing them to score at least what, three or four. So
And the game opens up naturally if you get that too. I mean, I think they're going to have to play a little bit more open regardless, just because they have to get numbers on the board. But if we score first, everything opens up. You try to hit them on the counter. That's where Correa and Brunetta have really thrived, especially when they play together. So you really change the state of the game if you get that goal early on, big time.
yeah, and obviously I don't expect us to go in there and boss possession. I don't think it's realistic. I think they're going to want the ball, and I think they're going to do everything in their power to get the ball and create chances off of that. But I do expect us to be in situations where we play direct, where we counter effectively, and we have the personnel to do it. We have Buffalo Aguirre, who's very good in those type of situations. Ozzy's going to play; he's very good. Um, so we'll see. Angel Correa obviously very good with the ball at his feet. So we have the players to be able to create dangerous situations.
AJ, in within this conversation, how important is it to really truly be out on the front foot? Because in both of our previous away games so far in this tournament, both that first leg against Forge and then the first leg against Cincinnati, we're kind of just strolling through and kind of being a little bit too lackadaisical. How important is it to not do that tomorrow for obvious reasons?
I think you pretty much like summed up what needs to happen. I think with having the first leg at home, that kind of gave the boys the confidence for the away leg. But with what you said about the game opening up, if we score first, that needs to happen. I still think the game's going to be open once the game starts because they're gonna need to score three. Um, so I think the game's going to be open up. I just think the boys are going to have to be patient. I see Seattle pressing heavy, and then like you said, us scoring off the counter with Brunetta or Correa. I think that's going to be the game changer. So yeah, I think playing the first leg at home, it's kind of brought the nerves down a little bit. Now they can play more relaxed. Obviously, the crowd's going to play a factor, and then the pressure from Seattle is going to be there. But like I said, we have a cushion right now. And then like what Lou said, if you score two, that's five. They have to score six to advance. I think we're in good hands. So we just got to stay patient. It's eventually going to open up and then take advantage.
The other thing too is that Seattle's going to be fresh. They didn't play this weekend in MLS, which I don't know why. Them and some other team in the Western Conference didn't play. I don't know if that was preordained, if that got moved, if they pulled a PSG and wanted to have the match moved, like how they did with their Champions League quarterfinal against Liverpool. I don't know what happened there. So they're gonna be fresh. Obviously, we've had some time off. Like Saturday, that Saturday game was early. It wasn't a late night game, and we ended up winning comfortably at the end. So hopefully the boys are not too fried physically. But with long travel, I think it helps too that they got there yesterday and not today. Just kind of ease into the environment and the weather up there, and not
We didn't want another Cincy situation, bro, where we
literally,
having to fly the day of.
yeah, and have to even have that on the docket as a potential excuse or reasoning, like Guido had to have last time when that happened. So, um, prediction time. I think it's gonna be 2-2. 2-2 draw.
I like that. 2-2. I think if we get 2, that's very favorable in our way, and I think it won't be such a scary match. What would scare me is 1-0 getting late into the game and then you give up one. Where you're down. That's the type of game I don't want to see. I want to see us score. Early or at least in the first half, get one if we can,
Yes, agreed.
because eh, we don't want to do it in Tigres fashion
Ah,
for once in our life,
for
please.
once, please, for once. Yeah, please no. Uh, so you're saying 2-2 as well?
I'm gonna go
I'll
2-2.
go. I'll go 2-1. Us. I have us scoring
Hey.
two in the first half, and then Sounders scores one late.
Okay,
2-1.
sweet. Reminder that if the boys finish the mission tomorrow, semifinals would be in 2 weeks from now against the winner of tonight's matchup against or between Nashville and America, which we will have our eyes on here in a little bit once that gets started here in about 20 minutes or so. Um, Shout out LAFC. They're holding it down so far. Hopefully, they don't collapse in the last 15 minutes because I don't want to see Cruz Azul go far in this tournament, personally. All right, let's jump over to the Chivas game. Best league performance of the season by a mile. By a mile. As some of y'all know, your boy was privileged enough to attend the game with our great friend Tigres Takes, aka Alfred. In case you haven't seen Twitter the last few days, I'm just gonna humble brag. My record since 2022 attending men's games at El Volcan is 7 wins and 3 draws, uh, 0 losses. So it's nice to add to that tally. This time, nice to see us actually beat Chivas because the last time I saw Chivas, we drew against them, but that was also the first leg of the 2023 Clausura final. So, whole different circumstance. But man, what a performance from Bruneta, uh, from Buffalo Aguirre, from Angel Correa, from the whole team. Joaquim was tremendous against Hormiga. Um, the boys were resilient after giving up that equalizer in the first half. Um, yeah, just a lot to like about how we played against the current league leaders. So, give me y'all's thoughts as y'all watch the game from the tellies. Tell me some things that I would have missed from being in the stadium.
It was one of the few games this season where I thought we set the tone early and we just performed well for a full 90. It was just a complete package. I thought the game plan was perfect from Guido, and the boys understood it and executed it perfectly. To me, that high press really put Chivas in a bind. I mean, it was
Yep.
clear that they were struggling to play out the back, and they wanted to,
Yep.
and they wanted to have possession, but we forced them into making mistakes, playing the long ball, which favored us because Joaquim was chasing that ball, um, and just clamping down defenders. Anytime I see our team and the fullbacks are beyond midfield and the center backs are right at the midfield circle, I'm like, man, chef's kiss, dude. It's just awesome to watch. And we pressed as a unit. I thought,
You like that video that I sent in the group chat last night about the.
no, I didn't watch it, bro.
Oh, okay, so
Was
it's
he did
basically
did he
it,
did
yeah
he
he
talk about that?
yeah he broke it
That
down
guy
how
that guy's actually pretty good, but
because
I just didn't have time to catch it.
he broke down just basically like how the press happened in certain moments. Joaquim's role specifically, like taking out Hormiga completely, kind of the way that we took away the lines in the middle, how we clogged the middle up and took away the passing lanes. Like you're nailing it all on the head. That's basically what the whole video was about.
Good minds think alike, bro. There you
Yeah.
go. No, that guy is pretty good. I've seen some of his other stuff because I think Arnoldo one time posted something about it, and I watched it that time. And he does a really good job with the breakdowns. But yeah, dude, I mean, it was just a great game. Our guys were sharp. I mean, Correa was dialed in. I thought the way Gorriarán was allowed to play very free, I thought was key. Um, at times he was kind of dropping deep to help out, but
He was
at
out
times was
right,
yeah, very active on the
right wing.
attack.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was just having the liberty to do so because Araujo was so phenomenal
Oh, so good.
at his position that night. So we just dominated them in every respect. Really, there was a little portion there in the second half where I thought Chivas kind of stepped it up out of necessity, but we had the game in control all 90 minutes. I think it's a match that I think Ido's gonna watch and be very pleased with. I think this is one where you can pat the boys on the back. They just did an excellent job against a very good team, a well coached team at that.
Yeah, young team, but yeah, there's a reason why they've done so well in the league because they've got a game plan and they have a style that's really suited them, and we really nullified it in a way that I don't think a lot of teams have. But they've struggled against some of the top teams in the league, and that was further emphasized with how we played against them. AJ, before I let you share your thoughts, here is the poll, the debut of the live recording or mid recording poll. Favorite goal from Saturday's game. If you're watching on the screen, it's over here on the bottom left corner. Type in the chat your thoughts. One being Bruneta's first, two meaning Aguirre's goal off that Correa assist, three Correa's goal, 14 seconds into the second half, or type in four for Bruneta's second, the one on the counter. AJ, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say definitely probably the best performance league wise. Araujo starting to shine. We're starting to see his true self with him being comfortable in the squad. Seeing his establishing his role in the squad. So that's a plus to see. But shout out to Joaquin, man. That was a phenomenal game. Like Threeger said, Hormiga was in his pocket, and that's the performances we need from the back line. Yes, we conceded, but at the end of the day, I think the back line did really phenomenal. And then, like Lou said, the press was definitely, especially on the first goal, when they played it to the left back, and the press was they just swarmed to him, forced him, got the ball, and then that's what set up Bruneta's goal. But Bruneta's starting to heat up at the right time. He's getting there, so hopefully he can carry that into the rest of the league play, and then hopefully into the Liga.
I mean, Bello summed it up to a T on Saturday. When he's on and when Correa are on and when they're both on together, Tigres more often than not are going to win games and they're going to get good results. And I know that that's maybe a little bit too overly simple, but that's what it is. It's all about consistency with this team, and those guys really exemplify that, especially with when they're on the field together.
Yeah, I know the fans sometimes get frustrated with Bruneta because sometimes he'll go ghost or sometimes it doesn't put in the effort that we want to see. But I mean, if it all once it all everything gets boiled down to the basics, I think those two are our very best option. Even when Bruneta is not at his very best, he's still the best for our squad, and we can't afford to, you know, like we say sometimes when we get angry, all bench him or send him to the under 20s or whatever. We can't afford to do that. We need him on the pitch, man. He's just such a important, vital piece to the puzzle and to what Pizarro wants to do. So good for him because he's starting to get his confidence back. I thought early in the season, mentally, he wasn't at his best. He wasn't in his best state. I think he was going through some blues. and now I feel like he's starting to enjoy himself again. Uh, I think at times he beats himself up a little bit too much for not scoring, and I think they've kind of worked with him a little bit. I feel like he's getting through that stage, and I think he's noticing that even if he's not scoring, he can still contribute a ton to the team by distributing and being in the right spots. So he's getting his confidence back, and it'll be important because we're getting down to the important matches now, right? So I think he's going to step up. He had some much needed rest against the Sounders, right? He didn't get the start, and I think that kind of helped him to be ready for this game coming up.
Yeah, a little bit of a kind of a not a shot, but just like his celebration, uh, especially on the first goal, kind
Yeah.
of responding to the all the chirping and all the noise that's been thrown his way, um, to put up a performance like that against, like we mentioned, the best team in the league so far this season. Um, it's great, and we can only hope that that continues as the rest of the league season goes on, and as we get towards Liguilla, and then hopefully that translates in the Conca, as well. I thought the only downsides, the goal was kind of a bummer, just the way that we gave that up. Like they weren't really doing anything, and then all of a sudden, like that just pops up out of nowhere. I know we mentioned him earlier, but poor Rafa Guerrero just kind of misplacing a pass and allowing that situation to kind of happen. That was the only like bad thing about him. I thought he was fine otherwise, like just played really simply and didn't do too much. In a game that we also needed minutes, he played the full 90, and Chicha came on as well to kind of add some more at the end as well. So good to get some of those minutes as well. We're at 966 youth minutes wise, so we've got about 200-ish to go with 3 games left. For those of you who are keeping track. But other than that, I thought a lot of great performances. Really liked how we played offensively, despite Lainez not playing because of his suspension. Alfred and I were talking about that when I got to the stadium, when I got to our seat, and we were just trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to play? Like, what's kind of the game plan without our right wing presence that we've had, who's super consistent. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit just now, Lou, but just like Gorriarán kind of floating into that space at times, Oziel drifting into that, just kind of all the forwards kind of drifting into that space and seeing what happens. And I thought everybody did a good job. It was funny seeing all the Chivas fans cook Luis Romo because of how he gave up the error that led to the first goal with how Correa pressed him. Lots of funny content about that on the internet, but great crowd. Atmosphere was great. It was for a 5 p.m. game. Usually 5 p.m. games are really interesting because it's hot. Sun's out. I mean, we were getting cooked. It was humid in the stadium. But crowd was great. A lot of Chivas fans in the stadium, which is really interesting. They really showed up. They had obviously
How
their
many you
section up
think
top.
showed up?
Oh man, probably about 1,000 to be honest. They were everywhere, man. I was surprised at how big their presence was, but I'll share this to the viewers and the listeners. I already kind of shared it with you guys over the group chat, but I'll share the full story. I'm walking out of the stadium. I just said bye to Alfred. We're going opposite ways, and I'm walking out, and there's this guy, a Chivas fan, who just in the middle of this crowd, like walking out of the stadium, just lets out a big "Arriba las Chivas!" And I bet, and everybody like gives him crap, but about 20 of us, myself included, were all like, "Mira este culo, equipo culero," just like in unison, just like hounding this guy. Just like, why would you say that? Your team just got destroyed 4-1, just absolutely frying this guy. It was so funny. Um, just all the playful banter that you get in those situations, but
I thought
great atmosphere.
the Libres y Locos chant at the end was really awesome too.
The
Like,
Santander one,
yeah, Chivas is
yeah,
nothing without Santander.
yeah, they were throwing that on the first half too. That wasn't just the end of the game
Oh, it
thing.
wasn't just after
Yeah,
the fourth one. Oh
Yeah, no,
wow.
they were doing it. Yeah, at the end of the first half as well. So it was a good game to be at. Um, and again, to have two good performances, good wins at home after all the struggles we've had so far this season at our place. Hopefully that turns the tide and our beloved stadium becomes the fortress that it needs to be going forward.
I'll say this about Guerrero. I'm gonna give him the Simeone treatment and give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a youngster and he hasn't had a lot of time with our squad. But I will criticize this about him because he's not a spring chicken. He's 23 years old.
Yeah.
As a pro, dude, he needs to work on his physique. He he looks like a toothpick out there, bro. It can't be that
Bro, se parece a
it can't
Lichnowsky. He looks
bro, it
like
can't be that
Lichnowsky, bro.
my quads and my calves are bigger than his, bro. Like you're a professional. Your job. I mean, if you looked at him next to Joaquim, and I know it's not fair because Joaquim is a grown dude, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But oh my goodness, it's like I felt like I was watching a high schooler playing against a pro guy, like
Yeah,
playing alongside a
he's a
pro guy.
twig, bro. And like
Like,
he runs like he's got Tim's on his feet.
yeah, I mean, it's like, bro, you got to work on that. You're 23 years old. Hit the gym. You as a center back when you play against fullbacks like Aguirre, for example, they're just gonna outmuscle you. You have no chance against the more physical forwards, and so you know, besides the tactical and the mistakes that he might have made throughout the game, I think that to me was one glaring weakness from him that he needs to really improve, especially this off season. If he's got a chance, got to hit that weight room a little bit, man.
Yeah, and cut his hair so that way he doesn't look like Lichnowsky's clone. He looks just like him, bro. I swear. It's so funny. Um, ooh, red card? You see that just now?
You're
Oh,
probably ahead of me, like as usual.
you per usual.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah,
is it
I just saw the
Piovi?
red card.
Oh man, crazy.
Uh,
Um,
to who? He fouled Buanga.
I think so. I think so.
Cruz Azul's missed a lot of chances, bro.
Yeah, Loris has been really good tonight. Kudos. Oh, the replay's nasty. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a straight red. Um, so are we saying that Brunetta was the man of the match from Saturday based off his 2 goals and 1 assist performance? Any love instead for Aguirre or Correa, who also had both of them had a goal and an assist
Correa
each?
was phenomenal, bro. I thought Correa was really good, especially leading the charge with the pressing. And Buffalo, to be honest with you, bro, he was a menace back there. He was nasty, man. Like I
Okay, I
think
got
that
to hold
I
on.
think he's so nasty that refs give him the benefit of the doubt. But boy, dude, is he like he's right on the edge of a lot of cards, bro.
I gotta ask the question: was it a red card in the beginning of the game? I couldn't tell. It was a weird angle from where we were sitting, so I couldn't really see that tackle.
One of the ex refs, I think it was Arturo Bricio Carter, actually showed a different clip than what was
Yeah,
shown on
the one
TV,
that was going around today on Twitter.
and he was like, "No, it's a good yellow." From the angle I saw, it could have been called a red. Like it looked, it was late, kind of, at the wrong spot. But this league, bro, I mean, how many times have they done us dirty? I don't. I'm not gonna be like, should have given us a red when
Right.
dude. I mean, like Joaquim last year against Toluca, right? I mean, he got stepped on,
Yeah, in the
right, and
final.
that was a yellow, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna say it's a good call.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
agree.
par for the course with this league.
Yeah. And with those performances as well, Brunetta and Correa are the joint assist leaders um, in Liga MX with Brian Garcia from Pachuca as well. And Brunetta has the third highest goal contribution stats of anybody. He has 9 combined goals and assists, 3 behind La Hormiga and Joao Pedro, who both have 12, um, mainly because they've scored 12 goals each and they have no assists. Selfish players. Just kidding. Um, any other thoughts on Chivas before we move on?
I'll just say this about Chivas. I think they've kind of proven that they're not ready to contend.
They're
I think
so inexperienced.
they moved into a position where if they keep this up, they could potentially, a season or two down the road could contend. But I think at this point, when they face stiff competition, I think they have not proven themselves. And then in a World Cup season, I just don't think they'll have enough pieces to really be able to be a threat. I think once it all boils down, I think Tigres, Toluca, possibly Cruz Azul are the three favorites to take the cup this season.
I'll be that guy. I'll throw Pachuca in as well, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Pachuca, Pumas, and even Chivas are kind of on the outside looking in.
Yeah. I think
I just
Pumas is
don't think they have
weird.
enough. Pumas has surprised me as far as like
A lot of great
how
results for
how
them.
how well structured they've been. I think
Yeah.
they're executing what their coach wants out of
That
them.
that
But
system they run is really interesting. It's like that 4-1-3-2, and they just kind of shift a lot of numbers up with one anchor in the midfield, and I don't. It's really
I
interesting to
just
me.
don't think it'll hold up in a home and away type situation, bro. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Like like against us, for example, they bunkered down. They played in a low block for 90 minutes and countered.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, it paid off, but try to do that for 180 minutes. It's tough to do.
Yeah. Gol de Boanga! LAFC through to the semis. See ya, Cruz Azul. We're gonna have a new Conca champion this
Watch
year.
out for LAFC, bro. To me,
Yeah.
this team might be the best team in North America.
Yeah. They've got two of the best players in the region for sure in that front line. Kudos to them. Kudos to them. Oh, we lost AJ. That's unfortunate. Um, Bye Azul. Yes. Thank goodness. Adios. Um, all right, let's move on to this weekend's league game. And then I think we'll be done. We've pretty much covered everything. No femenil really to talk about today, obviously, since they're on FIFA break. I know Maria had a good game for the national team. Once again, shout out to her. But other than that, it's been pretty pretty quiet on that end. Naturally so. I mean, we're about to hit Liguilla with them and Clásico Regio, which I'm sure we'll get to next week. But anyway, this Saturday, not this Friday. The schedule has changed, thankfully. This Saturday at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., something like that. It is Tigres on the road at Necaxa in a game that means a lot in the standings because Necaxa is right there in that mix with everybody. As far as like for the last spots in Liguilla. Tigres currently sitting in sixth place. 1 through 5 is set. There's a 7 point gap between 5 and 6, Toluca and us. But Tigres is currently sitting on 20 points. America in seventh with 19. Atlas has 19 as well, but they're in eighth based on goal differential. Leon also has 19. Tijuana has 18 in 10th place. Juarez and Necaxa both have 16, 11th and 12th. So you've got the 6 versus 12 matchup. Necaxa coming off, two
4-1, 4-1 loss, right?
3-1 loss, two decent victories beforehand against Cholos and Mazatlan, but losing on the road to a Querétaro team 3-1. They had two red cards in that game as well. But that's a matchup that's always been interesting. The last time that these two teams played each other, there was 8 goals in that matchup, in that 5-3 game back in, I think it was October Um, yeah, it was October of this past season. That was the Brunetta hat trick game. For those of us who remember, um, Chicha had 2 assists. Started and played the whole game. Correa had a goal and an assist as well. Cambindo was all over us for them. Um, they've lost some guys though. Necaxa, weaker in midfield with Palavecino not there anymore. Now that he's a Cruz Azul. Interesting matchup though. Obviously, it's a must-win based on league standings and points. But what are the keys do you think to getting 3 points on the road in an environment that is not the most difficult, but it's interesting and against a team that when we play them, there's always a lot of goals and it's a pretty open back and forth game.
Well, as you know, there haven't been any easy games for us this year. Even though Necaxa is kind of a mid-table team, we have not had any success against those type of teams. We struggled versus Puebla. We struggled versus Querétaro. So, going to Seattle and then having to travel to El Estadio Victoria, I think is a concern for me.
It's a lot of
Um,
travel.
yeah, fatigue, just mentally, are we going to be prepped and ready to go?
And
There's some question
we need
marks
youth
there.
minutes. We still need to get
What,
that. We
200 minutes?
Yep.
And so I think this is a game that obviously our squad's not even thinking about having a big game tomorrow. And so you prep for the game tomorrow and then see what the outcome is, and then immediately you have to start prepping for Necaxa as you travel. So there's not a lot of time to prepare. Obviously, they don't have a ton of weapons. There's not a squad that pours a ton of money into the team, but you still always have to be concerned. Just looking at Necaxa against the big teams, they've struggled. They lost to Pumas, lost to Toluca, lost to America. And so they haven't done well against the top teams, but it doesn't mean anything, as you know, because we haven't done well against some of the bottom teams. So it could be potentially a trap game in a situation where we're desperate for points, bro. I mean, we're down to the last few games of the season, and
3 games left.
and and we need it, and they need it. So they're desperate too because they have a long, it's a long shot, but they have a shot at that eighth place with some wins to close out. So to me, this is one that we need to be careful. I think we need to manage the team well. We need to pick the best 11 that we can, the healthiest ones. Who knows what our squad will look like coming out of the Seattle game? Hopefully, everybody's healthy. But Pizarro's going to have to pick the right personnel to be able to squeak out the 3 points.
Yeah, who do you think is the best 11 at this point going into that? Assuming that um let's assume Goriaran is fine, nothing happens. I mean, he's not going to play tomorrow, so hopefully nothing happens with him training wise between now and then. Um and with needing to get some form of youth minutes, what does that look like? I mean, I have to imagine that, and with Loroña out, you still have to put Angulo
Angulo.
um, at left back. I imagine the center backs will be Joaquim and Romulo at that point if you're going to have Goriaran back.
Chuy Garza.
Chewy. Gori in midfield, I assume with Brew. Correa starts,
And I
obviously.
would say give Chicha or Marcelo Flores or both some time. Why
Flores is
not?
also dealing with an injury at the moment. I don't know what his status is. For even tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be in the squad for tomorrow, and I doubt that he will be for Saturday as well. I think you have to start Chicha on the
Chicha.
left side, and Linus comes back in on the right, bringing Nocied later, um, and yeah, got to manage the game well. Got to get a win, even a draw in this scenario doesn't really do you a lot of favors. Um, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world because we do have a point up on everybody else. But if America wins this weekend,
Atlas,
Atlas,
which
like,
we still have a head-to-head battle against Atlas coming up too, so that's gonna kind of make that game a lot more important.
yep, America also has to play Atlas. That's their last game of the season. America plays Toluca at home this weekend, so that's a tough game for them. Atlas is playing Santos on Sunday night on the road. León is playing Juarez at home. Tijuana is playing Cruz Azul on the road. Got to take advantage of this opportunity and got to get 3 points. You really create some good breathing room between now and the end of the season with a win on Saturday. I feel like that Atlas game is obviously really important next week as well because that's another team in the mix. But if you can get a win
It's
this week,
another road game, right?
yep,
Another road midweek game.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
So really tight schedule, bro. I mean,
Gotta
you're
gotta
going
get 6 to 6. Gotta get 6 to 6, and then if you, let's say we make semifinals, you finish up the league season against Mazatlan that Saturday, and you're playing leg one of that semifinal matchup the following midweek. So we're in 2 games a week season right now, and got to manage all the little nagging stuff and the injuries and all that. Maybe Marco Farfan looks like he's close to potentially making a return. He's back into training pictures a little bit more. That'd be a huge boost to see him back, especially from a left back perspective. Um, yeah,
honestly, the quicker we can incorporate him, and I don't mean like throw him in, give him 90, but throw him in, give him 20, give him 10,
yeah,
the better, right? Just get him back. If you have 3 games left to try to get him in form, let's try to get him in form for Liguilla.
absolutely. AJ, glad you're back. Your thoughts on this Necaxa matchup, and what are you looking out for as we get another big league game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a game where um, you kind of, like you said, if we win, we play in the semis. I think you have to be mindful with your squad. You don't want to overplay certain players and give some players certain rest, but we also have to get some youth minutes in. So wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of the youth starting this game or even coming on late. But definitely got to win the midfield battle. I think with Bruneta and Goriadan, we can win that. Araujo as well. But I like where we are. If we can keep the momentum that we've had from the Sounders and Chivas game, I like where we'll finish this league.
And we gotta kill some of these demons that we've been dealing with road games recently too. Had some real bad luck our last few road trips in the league. So it's not gonna be easy by any means, but I hope the boys win, and I'm going for a cool 2-1 victory on Saturday against Necaxa.
I think if we win, it'll be low scoring. So I'm gonna say we play clamp down defense and we win 1-0.
Okay, AJ.
I'm gonna go 3-0. I think we're gonna get
Hey,
some momentum with us into the league and 3-0. Especially if the second leg's like a low scoring effort. I think we'll win 3-0 against Necaxa.
I like the way you think. Drager saying we need 300 plus minutes, not 200.
What? Why are you killing the
What,
vibes, Threedger?
bruh? I thought it was
300.
200. It's like 1,170. We're at 966. Is it not? That's 200, right? I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was like 220 or something. That's what I had seen.
Yeah,
Didn't somebody post it on the thread, the minutos
yeah.
list? I
I
know
I
we're in last place still,
we're
and
at
America still hasn't gotten theirs either, from what I've seen. Cruz
we're
Azul.
at 966. 1,170 is the target. So that is, hold on. Calculator. Calculator is important. 1,170 minus 966 is 204.
204.
Yep. Yep. That makes a lot more sense.
Sounds better than
Lot more
300.
sense. Yeah, no kidding. Probably saw an old post. That's probably what it was before the Chivas game. Was 300.
Don't scare us, Threeger.
Yeah, please don't. Okay, last thing, and then we'll get out of here. The big rumor that's been going around, Osiel Herrera being seriously looked at by Feyenoord in the Dutch league. Um, Apparently, his agent met with Dorado today about that potential opportunity. A lot of interest there. As a result, there's kind of been a floating rumor as well about um, Alejandro Sendejas potentially reinforcing that position should Ozzy leave, aka the Sembrina and Ciso effect, as we talked about earlier in our little group chat. Um, Thoughts on that? If we get a good fee for him, what would that number be? And is that a good place for him in his career?
Edgar threw out what, 10 mil?
Yeah,
I think in the ballpark of 10 mil is pretty good. Honestly, 8 would probably do it for me. That's probably my. If I threw out 8 and they came back with 8, I would just sign off on it right then, like a garage
yeah,
sale, bro.
yeah. 8 with some add-ons, with 2 million in add-ons.
I mean, it would be a good situation for both of us, right? I think we get rid of a player who at times has been fantastic, but at times has been extremely disappointing. And that I think for a while now we've said, well, we've kind of seen enough out of him, and I think we've gotten the best out of him. So to me, you get 10 mil out of him, and then he gets to go play for a good league. I think it's a league that's treated Mexicans well, and I think it's a win-win for both. I think he gets some European exposure. He's still very young, right, to where he could maybe even make a career out of it. He does well over there. You never know. Things open up in Spain or in other leagues in Italy, and things could go potentially well for him. So it's a win-win. As far as Sendejas, oh man, I would love to have him on the squad. Um, and honestly, if they want to throw in Brian Rodriguez in there, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all either.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's a lot more consistent. He's a proven player that has been really consistent for America. I don't think he's had very many lows at that squad. Um,
Zendejas or Brian?
both, but Sendejas in particular, since you brought it up, to me that's a player that's been very good and is still in his prime. So for us, I think would be a great pickup if we could land him.
No mames, Streaker. The Boanga train has sailed.
No,
Much as
but
I,
dude, we begged that guy so much to come, and he never wanted to come.
yeah,
Well, it,
bruh.
it doesn't help that LAFC wanted like the
The
Queen's jewels for him.
For real, they wanted like 20 mil or something, 25 mil. Golly.
Yeah, last time, who was it? Palmeiras that was asking for him, or Flamengo, one of
Yeah,
those.
bruh.
They were like 23 mil, and even the Brazilians were like, "No, we'll pass."
Yeah.
I
And
mean, imagine if we would have landed him like 2, 3 years ago, he would have been
Ooh,
such a beast.
absolutely. Oh well, it is what it is. AJ, any other additional opinions on a potential Ociel Herrera move to Feyenoord, maybe following the path of Juan Santi Jimenez, and maybe a parting gift from Torrado to sell a player to Europe before he hopefully gets fired by the new president.
I think it's like Lou said. I think it's a move that benefits both the club and the player. I mean, I feel like we've seen what Oziel can do at Tigres. It's highly inconsistent play. Plagued by injuries, I get it, but like I said, it's been up and down. So I think if you can get in between the 8 to 10 mil, it's too good of a deal to pass up. You have to get him while teams want him. So I think
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that, that leads to a potential Sendeja signing, but also what does that even mean for the future of Marcelo Flores here? Like, does he have even greater opportunity um, with us? I don't think he should, but there's there's kind of a ripple effect that happens within the squad. Like, does that open up more minutes for Chicha as well? Should Ociel depart and we maybe decide to kind of keep things in house? So that's one to watch for the summer as well, um, as we get towards the end of the season and as the summer gets here with the transfer window being weird with World Cup and what our team's going to do, how our team's going to respond to certain guys and how they perform at the tournament this summer. Um, we'll see what happens.
I was gonna ask y'all
I,
a question real quick. What are y'all's thoughts on Buffalo so far?
Ah, man, I understand why we brought him in. I think he's playing his role really well. I wish we had a little bit more numbers from him, stats wise, goals wise. Um, but I see the vision and I can get behind it.
yeah, I think he's doing everything that Pizarro wanted out of him. We complained so much about Nico Ibanez not being there for us when we wanted to press. Like for example, this game against Chivas, Nico wouldn't have gotten it done. I mean, it would have turned out to a different type of game. And that it opens up the opportunity for us to be in a high press, to then be able to generate shots, to be able to create errors. And so he's just the type of guy who's gonna smash, bro. He's just one of those guys that's gonna really aggravate fullbacks and center backs, and he does it very well. And the scoring just is kind of like cherry on top with him. I'm not asking him to be the leading goal scorer for us. I think when you do all the dirty work, you free up Bruneta and Correa to be able to then do what they did, for example, against Chivas.
Yeah.
And they're able to do that because El Bufalo's doing a lot of the dirty work. So I mean, I know some fans are not going to appreciate it. They're not going to care for the effort that he puts in, but I think it's an important piece, an important element for Pizarro and what he wants to do, the versatility he wants to have tactically.
And I really like that his chemistry that he's already formed with the rest of the front line like is very evident. Like he gets along with the squad well. Like I can tell that him and Correa and Bruneta like they really vibe with each other. So you can see that and yeah, I just think he's playing his role really well and um the more goals that we can get from him the better, but I don't think you can complain too much about what he's doing within the structure of the team and what Guido wants from him and um yeah, I just feel like he's been a lot better than I think a lot of us anticipated when we first signed him. I know there was a lot of like why are we bringing this guy in? Guy who had been struggling a lot, um, within the league in his last couple stops. So um, hopefully that goal that he scored on Saturday is the first of many league goals. I know he's been the Conca merchant so far this season, but hopefully we can get some more um, contributions from him with the league stuff going forward. So,
I got two cool stats that I saved for you guys today.
oh, Profe Lou.
So the first one is from Rafa Dato 2, which is Rafael Rivera on Twitter.
Okay.
Check this out. Nahuel Guzman has 210 clean sheets. The next person in line for Tigres with clean sheets is Pilar Reyes with 58. So Pilar Reyes, for you youngsters in the crowd, played in the late 70s. Um, he's got 58. Enrique Palos 53, Mateo Bravo 47, and Robert Siboldi at 42. So if you
Wow.
combine Pilar Reyes' clean sheet and Enrique Palos, Mateo Bravo, and Siboldi, that's 200 clean sheets. So all
Jeez.
four of those guys combined don't put together one of, don't get to the 210 that Noel has.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to kind
crazy.
of, and I mean, you're talking about historic goalkeepers here. Siboldi was amazing in the mid 90s. Um, Stinking Mateo Bravo, obviously, in championship teams with and Pilar Reyes too. So you're talking about historic, legendary players at Tigres. Enrique Palos being in that 2011 winning squad, and they still don't even get close to Nahuel. And then the other one is
Crazy.
from Football GEB, and I thought this one was cool too. The last time a team beat both America and Chivas by 4. So we beat them this season 4-1 America and 4-1 Chivas. The last time that happened, do you know when that was?
Was it this century? Oh, 93.
You have to go back to the 95-96 season,
Oh,
and
it's
Necaxa
close.
did it. They tied
Wow.
4-4 against America and then beat Chivas 4-0.
Wow.
So and there was two times that it happened in the 90s. Necaxa did it, Puebla did it, and then you have to go back to the late 40s for that to happen again, 1949.
No, hombre, el año del Kikiri,
So
güey.
kind
That's
of a
crazy.
big deal that we beat both of the two big clubs in the league 4-1 this season. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
little
cool.
little pat on the shoulder for us.
Very nice. Thank you for the stats. All right. Anything else that we missed? We ran this without an outline tonight, and I'm honestly impressed we haven't missed anything up to this point. Nothing.
No, I think we're good. Who do you got
Sweet.
winning between Nashville and America?
Please
Or
Nashville, bro.
not winning, but advancing.
Please Nashville, bro. Just get that away goal, please. Please.
I see you're favoring the MLS teams now, bro.
I
I'm
just I
I'm
just
gonna I'm I'm pulling for Nat. Well, I don't know if I'm pulling for Nashville. I don't know if I'm pulling for anybody. But I just think America at that altitude in their stadium with their
yeah.
fans, I think they find a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that this game is at El Azteca, like it's a different
I feel
situation.
I feel like we match up better against America than Nashville. That's just my
Same
opinion.
here.
It's
I'm with you,
just
AJ.
I just feel like this. I would feel more comfortable playing America than Nashville. Nashville's kind of tricky, but with America, I feel like our squad's built to beat America.
I hope so. We'll see. We'll find out in 2 hours what happens with
Watch
this game.
along tomorrow or no,
Oh
Dennis? You
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah.
tired?
No, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm should get some good sleep tonight. I won't be at work super long in theory. So um, who's down for some lautimes after dark? Watch along tomorrow during the Seattle game.
Game
Come
kicks
join us.
off at what, 10:05 or something like that?
Oh, it's late, bruh. Late here in Texas.
I think it's
Um,
10:30. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right, AJ. Yeah, 10:30 kick tomorrow. Um, so
So you
y'all
want to
can
do like 10:25 just to get the lineups going and stuff?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so y'all come hang out with definitely at least me and Lou and hopefully AJ or maybe even some of our other
I'll
people
probably
can.
get on the second half. First half
All
I
right,
might
but
miss a little bit, but second half for sure I'll be on.
excellent. Game tomorrow, of course, is on TUDN and I believe FS1, not FS2 like last week, because I think their actual commentators will be broadcasting this game. I don't know about who's got the Necaxa game on Saturday. I haven't looked at the TV situation from that. I don't remember what they are.
Vix maybe?
Maybe are they a Televisa team? technically in the state.
Yeah, I think so.
I guess. Anywho, but yeah, come hang out with us tomorrow. We'll be live. Um, these watch alongs have been really fun, so y'all come hang. Yeah, it's a VIX game on Saturday. And then a TUDN game against Atlas next week, a week from now. So, real quick, shout out to one of my new favorite spots in Monterrey, La Botiga, a little bakery, pastry shop, coffee shop over in the San Pedro side of town. Went there yesterday. They have an excellent Basque cheesecake, cheesecake Vasco, and the croissant that I sent you guys yesterday. The picture of that was actually a cheesecake croissant. So it's glazed on the top, and they put a little cheesecake and filling and berry compost in the middle of it. Woo-wee! So
Hashtag sponsored.
bro, Alfred was making the joke with me all during the game when the Monkey Papas guys were walking through.
Bro,
There it is, bro.
you should have plugged it in the whole time, bro. That was you need to shoot your shot, bro.
Oh gosh, I thought about it, but I didn't care once I had the chicharrones in my system. Early second half, se me fue, bro. Gotta love it. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow then for a little watch along after dark. Hopefully, leading to us advancing in the semis of Conca. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live, if you're listening on podcast later, hope you've enjoyed it as well. Leave a comment, leave a review, all the things. Subscribe, follow. Look at our handles on the screen. Look at the show notes. Look at the episode description. You guys know all the things that I usually say at this point. If you want to be a part of the show, let us know. Love to have you. Shout out, by the way, shout out our friend Sam. Sam's Concourse Corner. That dude, I don't know what he did, but kudos to him. That brother has pulled in some really strong interviews recently. He has an interview coming out with Raul Jimenez and an interview coming out with Edson Alvarez. And he's speaking in Spanish to them, which I think is super cool. So
Very cool.
yeah, so kudos to him. I'm sure those will be up on his YouTube channel over the next few days or so. So we need to get him back on the show at some point. That'd be really fun to have him
Before he blows up completely, bro.
Yeah, antes que se nos olvide, bro. Before all that happens. Anywho, we'll see you guys tomorrow, right here on Twitter and on YouTube Live. And we'll post the audio recording of the watch along on podcast later, as well. But for AJ, for Lou, for me, Dennis, and all of you guys who've been watching and hanging out in the chat, this is the Low Times Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Arriba la U, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow night.
Peace.